Thank you for your continued leadership and efforts in rallying on the DMV Moves initiative. It is a critical time, and there is a lot of work to be done. Councilmember Allen also heard your note and heard your call, and absolutely very important. Understanding the history of the region and Metro in itself, we know that having a strong and willing federal partner is essential in any lasting solution. To that end, I am delighted to have the opportunity to introduce our a great regional champion, Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. Senator Warner is no stranger to anyone in this room. He has served as governor of Virginia from 2002 to 2006 and was first elected to the Senate in 2008. Now in his third term, Senator Warner is not only the senior senator from Virginia, but will also be the senior-most senator from this region come January. We all appreciate that he has established himself as a bipartisan leader during his tenure, and that he was a champion of the bipartisan infrastructure law that has provided generational investments in infrastructure. He is also one of our best advocates for our region, helping to secure funding for countless projects, including Metro and Long Bridge. Senator, in this moment of change, we appreciate your steady leadership when it comes to transportation and the full range of challenges facing our region. So please, everyone, welcome, give a huge warm welcome to
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you very much for the introduction. I really want to thank the Greater Washington Partnership and the Board of Trade. These sessions are so important. Although I do think you introduced me now come January as the senior member of the delegation. Does that mean I'm really old? No. Well, it does actually, but hearing that last panel as a former governor, with so many people around this room that I've worked with over the years, it was a little bit like deja vu all over again. You know, so many of these issues have been with us for many, many years. I have to tell you, it really brought back a lot of battles and fights and issues, and it is a great break from what I'm going to be talking about a lot later today in terms of Chinese cyber hacking. Stay tuned on that one. There is no region in the country that is more concentrated on this hacking. And if you have not heard the term salt typhoon before today, rest assured you'll be hearing about it over the coming weeks and months. I'm a little crushed for time, which would be the good thing, so I'm not going to go on to give you the whole spiel. I want to make 3 quick comments and then 3 pieces of advice for the region. First, on Metro, I want to join everybody in saying to Randy and the team, thank you for what you've done in terms of trying to right the ship. It's been a challenge, and with Paul and others, we've been all on this battle for a long, long time. I think I'm proud to have been a champion of the Metro funding, and I do think with Senator Crapo now as chairman of the Finance Committee, I have a very good relationship with him. But we should not presume anything is given in terms of that federal funding. We're going to have to fight tooth and nail for it. We're going to need everybody's assistance. I think it is also important that we continue to press the issue that the nation's transit system is unique, and because of the dangerous world we live in, brings security concerns that other jurisdictions don't have. And so the notional idea of how we continue to promote the idea of potentially plus up to $30 million a year on the security side, rather than simply the straight funding side, is a battle that I hope to make with the new DHS secretary from day one. And the more we can get examples of some of the changes, we're going to need that ammunition to make the case to my colleagues. Second, Kathy mentioned this, but I think the most significant transformation, at least for those of us on the Virginia side of the river, over the last couple of years is Long Bridge. We got $729 million out of the bipartisan infrastructure bill. extraordinarily important. You know, we just have one railway, both freight and passenger, across the Potomac at this point. It's at 98% capacity. And the backstory of what we had to do, not only in terms of money, but frankly, getting all of the legislative process in part to get the Department of Interior to transfer land. It's quite a story, but we do have the funding now in place. That will create about, I think, 17,000 new jobs and 1.8 billion to our economy. This is critically important. We've got to make sure this will double the rail capacity, not only in Virginia, but frankly on all north-south. Extraordinarily important. Third, you know, we all commend the infrastructure bill. I'm very proud of that. I think the day of bipartisan gangs is going to be coming back very quickly, I hope. Lots and lots of improvements we've made in Virginia. I think, Chuck, we've got about $7.7 billion that will come in on the transportation side in the infrastructure bill. But it's time for reauthorization. And we had a bipartisan group last time. Here's my strategy, though, on infrastructure, at least the bipartisan infrastructure bill reauthorization. If we can simply get all of the people who voted for it last time and all of the members of Congress who didn't vote for it, but came for the check presentations, we're going to be at 80%, even with the new Congress. But we need to start, making that case. Investment in infrastructure. We all know it's pay me now or pay me later, and this will be a critical component. Last couple of comments is I think we need to recognize that our region's got a target on it with the new administration. And when they start talking about taking $2 trillion out of the federal spend, or dismantling the federal government in structural ways, I mean, we need to all take a deep breath and think about this in whole new ways. So all of it, I think about what Jack said and Ron says, the idea that we've been talking about some of these things for years, we can't talk about it anymore. I think the first 9 months of the new administration is going to be our moment of challenge. We're seeing the president-elect move very quickly on appointments. And so I've got 3 asks for the community. One, and I say this to my business colleagues particularly, we've got to make the case from a pure efficiency and expertise standpoint. The notion of chopping up the federal government and sending it to remote locations all over the country, no matter how much of a soundbite that may sound as good, it is not, in any business standpoint, an efficient redistribution of how we operate what is critical to the future not only of our region, but our country. And we are going to need business voices to weigh in with Congress, the Republican colleagues. We're going to need you to weigh in with our folks in the new administration to say, let's move past the soundbite. Let's think about efficiency and expertise. I think about it from the intel side of the fence. The ability to have folks at the CIA and the NSA and ODNI and NRO all talk to each other, meet in person on a regular basis would be totally diminished if that was chopped up and spread around the country. You can take department or sets of agencies after agencies. And having that ability to grow the expertise in federal service and not be undermined, and actually move from one area of the government to another, is a value add and not a subtraction. But we need to take the new administration at its word and the new efficiency team and address that seriously. Second, and I know I'm preaching to the choir on this, we need to get our workers back in the office. It is more of a challenge if we don't have folks back in the office to say, well, we can't relocate this department or agency out to somewhere in the Midwest or on the West Coast. Third, and I say this again as somebody who has been a governor, and realize the challenges of our region. I mean, I love the fact that we're the fifth largest, and I guess the New York region with Connecticut and New Jersey and New York has some of the same challenges, but we don't necessarily have all of the historic tri-state authorities that that region has. The 14 regional transit commissions, we've got to show greater regional cooperation. We need to put more than words behind that. And I frankly believe, and I say this as a Democrat, we need to show regulatory reform. And if we can show more efficient examples of that, if we can start making those changes early on in the new year, you equip me to go to the new administration and say, you know what, this has been a challenge. The Potomac River has always been a challenge between Virginia and Maryland and our friends in D.C., but look at what we are doing in a collaborative, more efficient regulatory reform basis. And actually having facts that I can present will be, I think, extraordinarily helpful. The delegation is united on this. We need to work, we need to not simply fight the new administration, we need to work with them. In terms of standing up for our federal workers, I will be there and have their back and standing up for the professionalism of our intelligence community. And while this will be a challenge, I also see it as an opportunity. The notional ideas that we've had over the years of moving to that greater regional collaboration, well, when the threat is $2 trillion coming out of a $6 trillion spend, and disproportionately, we would bear that burden exponentially greater than any other region in the country. It's time that we continue the progress that's been made. I think we will come out of this stronger, but we are all going to have to row in the same direction. And I particularly say to our business friends, we need you on this efficiency argument. Because if we can't make that, then we could look at a very, very different capital region a year from now. So better times to come. Thank you all for having me. Don't call me senior anymore. Thank you.